Hey, folks. Well, it's Sunday, and I just feel like visiting for a minute or two. Cheers. Is it the 24th? It's the last week of March already? That is wild to me. Again, that's one of the deals of aging that is weird to me, time passage. A quick look at comments. Thank you from Northern Germany. You like my squeaky chair? Cool. Yeah, the new Julia Holter is really good. The other person who said that they will pick up Happy End, I highly recommend it. Yes, oxymoron for Trump. Good one. And from Earthbound Boy, where he says I'm autistic, which isn't relevant. But I think that that's cool that you share that, because I wouldn't be surprised if I'm somewhere on that gradient, somewhere on the autistic spectrum. When I was a kid, I remember this specifically, they thought I was slow, or they thought I was retarded, actually. I remember very specifically the time, not exactly the day, but I remember the time period when I finally realized why people were acting like they were around me. I was kind of a spacey kid, you have your own we're in our inner world from the beginning. Some of us are interacting with it more than others, and I used to be pretty spacey. So when I started to get angry at how some of my family members were talking to me and treating me like as though I'm a dummy, as though I don't know what I'm doing. And I said, "Oh, I get it now. I see what you people need to see me do, so you'll leave me the holy fuck alone." And most of my younger adult life, I was spending a fair amount of inner time, mental time, digesting and trying to understand the behavior of other human beings, because it didn't make sense to me. And a lot of stuff that people say is normal behavior didn't make sense to me. And I had to model it in order to, because it didn't make sense to me. So I appreciate this person sharing that with me. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if I'm somewhere on the spectrum as well. I do admit totally to being a nerd and not a typical mainstream normal kind of person. I'm rather proud of that. Okay, so to get to music, yes, it's true that the Earth Star, some of this is mastered from vinyl. They couldn't find the master tapes, but don't let that put you off. Please, the music is worth it. I listened to more of this last night. I listened to the one with the funny title, Adam Craft. That's good. Good stuff. So, how's your weekend going? My weekend is going good. I've checked in with my friend who I told you about, who had the crisis. He's fine, working, found a new therapist. Let's see if that helps. My prediction is if he's not willing to do the work, which he can do without the therapist, it ain't going to make no difference. If paying that money makes him be more mindful, then good, because I think that's one of the reasons. Well, I think it's one of the ways that paying for therapy helps, is that, well, I paid for it, I better get something out of it. But it's not the therapist who does the work, it's you. And if you don't do the work, you're wasting your money. Okay, so like I said the other day, when I did that trade, I had credit. So yesterday, Grapefruit posted an update on Instagram, and there was a couple of titles that weren't out when I was there. So I went down and spent the rest of my trade money. And I did so well that I only ended up having to spend $20 yesterday because the trade, okay? Which really feels good. And I spent more time with Simon. I really like Simon. And I like the people that I like. And if you know Simon Joyner, if you've ever been around him, you'll know what I mean. He's like old timer. He was like this when he was younger. Now that we're older, he looks the part, But he's always been like an old soul, like an old hobo. And I love the guy. And when I look him in the eyes, he can't hide from me. He's a good person. Some people have, like I said, have misinterpreted Simon. He's a good man. So I'll show what I got, but and if I don't forget, someone asked they want to see the CDs. Okay, I'll show some, but generally speaking, folks, I really resist doing requests because I've explained it already. When I'm in my natural flow, it's more enjoyable. If I were to set myself up to become a request taker and request filler, I'd be miserable. And the other thing, this is again why I sort of relate to that autistic thing. People are always asking me to do top 10s and what's your favorites, top 25. And when I was much younger, I could think like that, but now it annoys me. I'm not thinking in those terms. Well, these are the top 100 albums of all time. I say it as a reference, but I'm not thinking that. Everything I'm showing you, I recommend, okay? If you need to understand it like that, anything I show you is worth checking out. So, let me set aside. Well, let me just be on it, real straightforward. So, I hadn't done this yet. I hadn't pulled out all of my Can Live albums, the ones that have been released in recent times with the similar graphics. So I pulled all these. I didn't play them. I just wanted to look at them all together. Kind of silly, huh? Not at all. It's fun. Okay. So let's get to okay, so first off, I got fooled. One of the records in the update from Grapefruit, I already have it. I should have checked. And my Discogs, I'm trying to put everything on Discogs, but I'm a lot of holes. But this is what got me to go down to Grapefruit yesterday. Have You Heard by Jack DeJohnette? This is wonderful. It's pretty free, actually. But then I get home and I check, and my Discogs doesn't always work on my phone. I already have this. But this is actually in a little better shape, cover-wise. So I'll trade in the my old copy. But what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to A/B the records. Because this record looks good, but my other copy might actually be quieter. This is the old Milestone label. Yes, I've met Jack DeJohnette twice. Lovely man, very kind. First time I met him, he didn't even need to take time to talk to me, but he did, I took a chance on 2 records down there out of the used. Since it was credited, I felt, and there was nothing screaming. Well, there was one where it's like, I thought I had it and I didn't, so I grabbed it. But this was of interest to me. Carl Stone, electronic music from the 70s and 80s. The name was familiar to me, but I didn't have anything by him. This is a 3-record set. This is the sort of thing that you're not going to listen to maybe more. It's worth experiencing at least once. He's doing a thing here where, again, I didn't read all the notes where he probably explains the process where he's taking things, looping them, but chopping them in a way that is unrecognizable until things kind of cycle. So on one side of this, it's him. You don't even, when you finally realize what it is, it's like, wow, it's brilliant. He uses the Temptations song, Just My Imagination, as his sound source. You can't tell for several minutes because of the way that he's chopping it up. It's very interesting. Now, I've done something like this, but just with an Echoplex. He's using something besides that. There's lots of information here. I'll read it. This was a fascinating listen. He also, one of the sides is a piece based on someone saying the words 1, 2, 3, 4. You would think, yeah, right. Wow. It sounds like a whizzes and clicks and beeps until he allows the sample to be heard enough to hear, oh, he's saying 1. Oh, that's the click between 2. That's the fascinating work. I love stuff like this. So let me also go back here because okay, so Frank was saying, how do you view Ryosuke Kiyasu, the guy who apparently plays an extreme metal, plays a snare on a table till it's on the floor? He says he can't wrap his head around this. It's okay if you don't get it, you don't get it, or if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's no big deal. Noise is noise. I don't like all noise. Some things where people are doing experimental or confrontational things with their art can be fascinating. It can be irritating. Respond as you feel. You ain't missing nothing. But my encouragement is to challenge yourself. Okay? Maybe you didn't like that. Try something else that's out of your usual sphere of interest. See if you discover that something there. That's why I'm not bothered about other people's opinions. Opinions are opinions. You might know something, but even if you know something, that doesn't mean that I have to align what I think with what you know. I like what I like, and that's just fine, isn't it? Yes, it is. This, I really didn't take a chance on. I knew what I was getting, but I'd never seen this before, and it was nice and cheap. Debt of nature, order, spoil the entire state. The name that caught me where I knew that I would enjoy this is Brad Lehner. He was in the band Medicine and some other things before that. Possibly Motor Totemist Guild, possibly. Don't quote me. So these are live recordings. This is folks doing that sound work where you can hear where there's sampling going on, there's real instruments, and it's a blend. And this is actually quite good. I ended up playing both sides because it really works. It's captivating. I also like doing stuff like this live with other musicians. Not just making a racket, but creating a sound field. This is good. I could tell also by the cover, even though the cover can strike you as both positive and negative. I just knew, this will be of interest to me. I bought 2 other things, and one is going back. I took a chance on this, Midnight Well, because of the label, Mulligan. I could see that it's Irish and Irish folk, but I have another album on this label, Supply, Demand, and Curve. It's partly folk, but it's also partly prog, and it's very good. So I said, let me take a chance on this, and of course, if I don't like it, I can take it back. And this is straight Irish folk. It's really well played, but it's not something that I'm going to be listening to. So I'm going to take that back. And the other thing that I'm glad I check this on before going down, because I got Brainticket's Cottonwood Hill. This is a reissue. Now I have an original of this, but as a twofer on Bellaphon with their other album, okay? So I have an original German copy of this, and I have this on CD, but I've never had the album. And this is a reissue, Lilith, out of Russia. High quality. This album is a trip, and I agree with what it says. It's not hype. It says on the inside, warning, only listen once a day to this record. Your brain might be destroyed. There's some truth to that. This is, it is like a psychedelic trip, especially like when you have done your first psychedelics, where it can be thrilling and also terrorful at times because it's so intense. And this encapsulates it. I love that cover too. Brainticket. Was real happy to get that. I will show a few CDs. I have. So someone asked me in the comments recently, so how many records you got there? Looks like you got about 5,000. This is just this one room. I have I was looking at my Discogs. It's still incomplete. So with CDs combined, it's over 16,000. The majority of that is vinyl. So well over 11, 12,000 albums, if not more. But I do have a bunch of CDs. A couple more records I played before I show some CDs, if I get to it. Out of Italy, Folk Prog, Saint Just, La Casa del Lago. This is interesting and not the typical Italian prog sound that not a lot of keyboards and classical references on this. Love that color. It is more acoustic oriented, but with interesting arrangements and female vocals. And this is good. Really enjoyed this last night. No references came to me. I like that when I hear music and I don't hear right. Oh, this sounds like. I like it when that doesn't happen. And completely to kind of break away from the moodiness of yesterday, I put this on Ryuichi Sakamoto and Kakatugi session. Summer Nerves. This is definitely a summer sunshine happy album, like the cover shows. I really enjoyed this last night. It's real pop and reggae and real commercial. This is a real commercial album for him. Of note, Hiromi Hosono was not on this album. Now, but I understand that for a time they didn't get along. And I can almost see where Hosono wouldn't want to be bothered with this album. It probably would have been a little funkier if Hosono had played bass on it. Just my observation. Love this album. Okay, so when it comes to my CDs, my house is a house full of music. This is my music room. There's CDs. Pardon the noise. So there's some records. You see the records behind me. There's my stereo. There's more records there, okay? So that, I'll pull from that. Excuse me. I'll pull some from that section, but my CDs, like the records, are everywhere. So A through H is in the living room. And this is J through S in here, and S through Z is in my bedroom. And I don't buy CDs. People send them to me, so a lot of the stuff is archival. I don't have a lot of new... Well, the new stuff is what the people send me. Let me just grab some here. Okay, so What do we have here? I'm just show you. And some of this I won't be able to tell you anything because I haven't heard. Jostaberry. I haven't met this fella, but made his acquaintance musically through Fred Church, who is also someone I haven't met personally but have interacted with, and he sent me his music. This is good. I've compared this guy to Todd Rundgren. Plays everything. He's quite good. Sean Jones, Eternal Journey. So see, here's where talking about stuff that maybe I have probably never talked about because I don't have it on vinyl. Trumpeter. Good. Not a Wynton Marsalis. Not a copycat. Haven't played this in a while. This immediately reminds me of my friend Gary Beck, who I lost 2 years ago. The year after my brother died, Gary died of cancer. And Gary played trumpet in his early days, and then he gave it up. But he knows greatness, and he's the one that turned me on to Sean Jones. What's next? Here we go. Quincy Jones. Back on the block. Haven't played this in a while. I love the fact that Quincy Jones is friends with my sister and my brother-in-law. They actually get together. I've shown this before on vinyl. It's an absolute favorite. Elvin Jones is On the Mountain with Gene Perla and Jan Hammer. Fantastic album. Just excellent. Excellent. Okay, here's somebody else I probably have never shown before. Eric Johnson, guitarist. I love him. What's the name of this album? Via Musicom. Wonderful guitar player. Very distinct, very fluid. Very cool. What else have we got here? Okay, so yeah. So, the person that requested this, I'm glad I'm responding because we're seeing some stuff that I haven't ever shown before. Linton Kwesi Johnson, More Time. The poet, the outspoken social speaker from Jamaica. If you don't know his work, you can tell by his face he ain't fucking around and he's spitting truth. Linton Kwesi Johnson. I got the shit, people, okay? Make no mistake. Here's one I haven't played in a while. This is jazz. Can't remember if this is free or not. I need to play this. Joint Venture Mirrors. With no big names in jazz, but these are players. It's on Enja. I need to play this. Here's one from a controversial figure from the past. Probably more gay than Bowie back when it was taboo to even admit it. Jobriath. Someone sent this to me. Lonely Planet Boy. I used to have one of his albums, and I'm pretty sure I sold it. So this stays in. This is this is part of the collection, and historically, it's of great interest. Actually, I think he actually got on national television a couple times, but it didn't work. They were trying to have him be out and make that be the deal. I wonder what happened to him. A few more. See, it's already 24. See, I could be on here all day showing you music. Marc Johnson, Bass Desires with Bill Frisell, John Schofield, Peter Erskine. Marc Johnson's originally from Omaha. I never knew him. I don't know if he lived here very long, but I understand he is in Omaha in origin. ECM. If you see ECM records cheaply and you're really interested in music, just buy them. Just buy them. Here's a favorite. Okay, this is one where it's top. Theme of Secrets by Eddie Jobson. I have this on vinyl as well. It comes under New Age. He was in UK, Curved Air, Roxy Music. Great player. Violinist, keyboardist. This is beautiful. I love this album. Absolutely love this album. It's beautiful. And then Zinc. Eddie Jobson, Zinc. More of a prog thing, I talked to Gary Green of Gentle Giant about this album because Gary guests on this album. He tells the story about how it happened. And what's interesting is the guitar part that sounds like Gary Green on this album isn't Gary Green. How weird is that? Last two things here, we get into stuff that has been sent to me by folks. This is the Fourth Dimension release, JFK Avalanche Zone. I reviewed this recently. I'm glad to be connected with Fourth Dimension. They're doing good works. Looking forward to the new Bass Communion by Steve Wilson. It's supposed to be coming. And here's one from one of the other labels. They just happen to alphabetically end up next to each other. A Moon June release, Leonardo. He sends me stuff. This is Dusan Jevtovic, No Answer. Now, folks, if I at first I don't write a list of what I've shown, don't get upset, okay? The thing to know about the labels that are sending me stuff, Discus, Fourth Dimension, Moon June in particular, they're not messing around with bullshit. That's high quality music and art, well worth anyone investigating. Okay, that's so I'm gonna stop there. 26 minutes on a Sunday.